Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by and for checking out this particular video. And for my usual followers and subscribers, thank you as well for taking your time today to see what's going on. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, you may not know that I've become a part of a group called the Terramuffins, and this is something that sort of developed all on its own. It involves myself and two other women. We have Eris from Eris Savard Designs, as well as Kelly the Opera Geek. And basically, we just kind of get up to some crazy antics on Twitter with each other as well as our followers. If you're all on Twitter and you have an account, just use the hashtag Terramuffins and you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyways, these two women have become very good friends of mine, and we have been enjoying each other's company and just chatting with each other on a daily basis. Now, because of the camaraderie that we've developed and the fun we've been having with other people, Capri Creations took it upon himself to create this really cool design, which I'm going to show you right over here. And this is the design that has sort of started this whole thing that's going to be happening. I'm going to explain in a minute. But he was kind enough to create this for us, and he gave us clearance to use it for whatever we'd like to. However, none of us felt comfortable using it as a for-profit, for ourselves type of thing. That's where the idea came to me, where maybe we could do something that's more fundraiser based with it. And to get started, I wanted to go with a cause that is something that is rather close to home. I'm coming upon the 3-year anniversary of losing a close friend to domestic violence. Because of that, I thought it'd be appropriate that we use this particular design and the merchandise that we're offering for it as a means to raise funds to donate to a local charity in my area that helps women who have experienced domestic violence and are trying to get out and trying to improve their lives. So what we thought we'd do is share this with everyone, and from now through the month of October, all sales, the profits are going to be donated to this particular charity. I'm going to have all the information down in the link below so that for those who want to do the research can do the research and decide if this is a facility you feel you'd like to back as well. I completely respect it and I understand that you want to know where your money is going. I do the same thing. But if you would like to help us with this particular cause and support the awareness for domestic violence, please check out all the links down below. It has everything you'll need in there. If you have any questions, you can always find us on Twitter. I'll have all of our ats in the description as well. You can also email me at thecraftingmuse.email@gmail.com. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to watch this. I very much appreciate it. I hope you have a great day, and please consider getting yourself some Terramuffin merchandise, and it's all for a good cause. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is not All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist game. This was supposed to be our weekly All That Glitters campaign, but unfortunately, as you can probably tell from the overlay and the players, Megan could not be here tonight because of a combination of an illness and a Canadian Thanksgiving. Which was this past weekend and is today, I believe, Mike, right? Today is the actual holiday of Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yes, it is.
Which I think you guys just call Thanksgiving.
That is also true. Also, Canadian bacon is just bacon.
Right.
Now that the mystique has been burst, sorry.
So, we definitely want to make sure that people that expect to see us here every Monday can tune in and still see some role play. So this week, Mike is running an Oath of the Frozen King from Absolute Tabletop Adventure Kit one-shot. In future, when we're down a player or we can't move on or whatever, different ones of us may take on the mantle of DM and invite guests. Like you can see, we have Taylor from Mom's the Nerd joining us tonight. So welcome back to the channel, Taylor. Mike, I'm going to explain domain dice real quick, and then I'm going to throw it back over to you. So if you look up above V's head, up there in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the tiny domain dice interface. Domain dice, of course, there is absolutely no obligation to contribute to this, but for every 500 bits on Twitch, or for every $5 donated through Twitch or YouTube Super Chat, the players earn a domain die that can be used to re-roll any d20 roll or to force the DM to re-roll. The players in our Thursday Sunless Citadel campaign are flush with domain dice, and they burn through them like mad. And most of them are for Jeremy. Chameleon Fam likes to keep Jeremy flush with domain dice. Speaking of Chameleon Fam, there he is in the chat with a $10 super chat donation, buying us 2 domain dice for this stream. So Taylor, you're new to this, and Dwight, this may be the first time you're actually seeing the domain dice. We get to change our fate. This is a dice pool. It's not we each have a die. But if you roll really crappy and you think it's going to be critical, or if you're like Marquise and you just want to do it on a perception check, use a domain die or force Mike to reroll. So I know we're limited on time tonight. We've got some hard stops that we need to make. So I'm going to kick it over to Mike. You can run introductions and everything else however you want, or wait till the end. At any rate, we're going to play some D&D for the next couple hours.
Yes, indeed. And welcome everyone to the Oath of the Frozen King, which is a supplement. It's an adventure kit by a company called Absolute Tabletop. And Absolute Tabletop is headed up by some friends of mine. And I was very, very wise to back this on Kickstarter. You can buy it at their website. And it is absolutely everything you need to put this adventure together. It's a one-shot, it's a two-shot, it could even be part of your campaign. It has like 30 million roll tables to make this adventure your own, completely, 150%. Doesn't have to be Oath of the Frozen King, could be Oath of the Desert King, or Oath of the Jungle King, or you get the idea. And they have every way to reskin it, to change it up, to do everything you can. And they have this wicked way of making maps in here where you roll dice. And that is actually what I did. I completely rolled randomly. I didn't use the maps that are provided in there, which are beautiful. And I have a completely, totally different, totally own way of running my players through this awesome setting. And I'm looking forward to it tonight. We have everyone here. What I'll do is we'll just jump straight into it. And if you guys need a break, you guys can text me in the chatty thingy, and we can have a break, and then we'll do all the introductions, which you guys need to be introduced because you're so awesome humans. You're my favorite humans. That's my favorite cat. Anyway, all right. So without further ado, let us begin. Vallana, the cold bites at you. It stings you like so many insects as you press toward this mountain path. The icy shards finding every bit of skin that is not covered up with furs or cloth. As you make your way with the rest of these individuals whom you've met not long ago, you begin to think back on how you got to this place. You're standing, the four of you, in front of a rather regally dressed woman. She sits on a simple wooden chair. Some would say it's a throne, but not what most of you are used to in the large city. She regards the four of you. I hope you understand that you're not in any kind of trouble. I need your help. We get many people through Varnholm, many people who are going from place to place. But nobody considers the people who actually live here. And for a time, things have been going well, but this winter, we have lost 20, 30 people, just vanished, gone. I appeal to your goodness. I appeal to your kindness. Please, Can you help me? Can you help Varnholm? And she looks at the four of you.
Well, I suppose if we must.
Absolutely. I will do everything that I can do to be of assistance.
Aye. If it is help you need, it is help. We shall grant.
Is there payment?
Of course. I wouldn't expect you to perform such a task unless I were to pay. I can offer you 1,000 gold pieces each. I cannot be a ruler of a graveyard, and if I have no people in my care, then this place will die, and it will wither, and without life, then who are we? Varnholm has existed for 500 years, and I hope that it will exist for another 5. I need you to help find my people, and I have no guards to spare. What little militia I have is they're used to fighting wolves or guiding people to their homes. I'm worried. Will you all help?
What has happened to your people?
And we instantly snap back. We were instantly snapped back to you, Belthrum. As you begin to head into this pass, you can see what looks to be a black, almost like an absolute end to this pass, which is called the Dread Rime Pass. And you can see what looks to be just a barrier. And on the ground before you, you see what looks to be scattered bone, ripped apart, and a blood spatter, which is just like so vibrant against the innocent white snow. And you even see drag marks, even cutting through the fresh snow on the way to this to this black maw. And instantly your mind goes back to the stables where this noble woman is giving you is providing you all with horses and rations and everything, any supplies that you would need. The young stableman looks at you. Aye, well, I mean, so it's been told to me. Some folk, late at night, trying to sleep, suddenly they see folk, but like not alive folk, right? Like long dead folk. They just see them walking through the town, all strange. I mean, some of them have old weapons, things they've not seen in long time, I would say. Not exactly sure if you're going to be heading up to Dread Rime Pass. Most folks steer clear of that. But it'd be a best of luck on you on that one there, Sir Dwarf.
I thank you for your kind words. If there are undead, then I must go.
Well, there's not going to be a lot of places for your ponies to go grazing round. So what we've done for you is we've got some oats and some hay, and he pats one of the ponies, and the horse, the pony already has kind of its winter coat in this like kind of slightly shaggy coat. He pats the pony's brindle. I also put a few apples in there if you wouldn't mind maybe giving them a bit of a treat when you get to the Black Maw. And well, best of luck to you. And you see now these doors, this Black Maw, the large black iron doors seem frosted over in spots. And even though snow has like infiltrated all of the intricate etchings throughout the throughout the doors. You can still see them 16 feet high, these two doors. And even though it's slightly ajar, you can see the thickness of these doors, at least a good 2.5 feet thick. And all around these doors, you see a writing that appears archaic and almost impossible to read. And to you, Mademoiselle de Vantage, we go now through your mind's eye as you sit in the library of Varnholm. A young woman rushes up to you with more scrolls and more treatises, which is a very hard word to say, apparently, and throws them down. Yes, well, this is everything we have on people going missing. This one here is about 20 winters ago. This is 15. Some of these, though, are in a bit of an older language. I don't know if you'd be able to read them. Hopefully.
It is of no concern to me. I can comprehend just about any language that is placed before me.
Well, that's very confident of you to say. All right, then. Well, I shall leave you to it. And if you'd like to try and read the writing on the doors at this point, Mademoiselle.
Having prepared for this, I reach into my component pouch, withdrawing just a pinch of soot mixed with salt, and rub them between my forefingers and taste them on my tongue, closing my eyes as I open them. I can understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that I hear, and I also understand any written language that I see.
All right.
For 1 hour.
Excellent. As you look at the two doors, you can actually begin to follow the writing. And as it written on the borders of both of these doors, and in each one of these borders, two different pictures of warfare and horrific atrocities committed by whoever lays beyond these doors. So the king that bathed in the blood of innocents be ever trapped in a frozen hell that chills the soul from eternal rest. It's written really big, to cover the 16-footness.
With as much dramatics as I can muster, I would read these words to my companions. So I would read whatever you just said.
Sure. So you stand now at the doors, the doors that are open, kind of just wide enough for a single one of you to walk through. And Nauta, you look into this darkened void, almost like a negative of just the white, the kind of bright snow all around it. And we take you now. You're standing at the edge of town. You see the rest of these individuals beside you, people that you've never met, a rushed thing to try and find these people. You look down the path and again, you can see this white snow that just ends into kind of this like long, almost going on to forever. What are you thinking at this point?
I'm a little annoyed that I even have to be here, but my father sent me saying that it was necessary to make sure I keep the family happy. So I'll do what I have to do and get this done. And I guess I'll work with these people and prove myself if that's what it comes down to.
And a young individual, a young man, kind of dressed in guard's attire comes up. Best of luck. One thing, we sent a guard unit down to or up to the Blackened Martyr see what was going on at first. Could you all maybe just have a look? Keep an eye out for them.
Were they as handsome as you?
Well, I mean, one of them is my brother.
So good looks run in the family.
You know what? I'm gonna go, but best of luck, and the gods keep you. And he kind of turns around, but like awkwardly, and just kind of like walks away. And doesn't know. Bye. And he just keeps on, and he kind of stops for a second, not knowing what to do, and he kind of starts walking in that way. And actually, I'm gonna just for the hell of it, he walks and he stumbles. He stumbles as he's walking towards you. Stumbles and actually goes face first into a post that's supporting a building, and he kind of looks, make sure that no one kind of looked, and just kind of totters off. You got an effect. And so now here you stand at these doors. What would you all like to do?
You said the doors are wide enough for us all to go through?
One at a time, I think, right?
Yeah, you can all go in just one at a time.
So we'll start to walk. I have my hammer on my shoulder as I make my way through the door.
No offense, dwarf, but perhaps I should go first. I seem to be a bit lighter of foot.
As you wish, squishy one.
So it begins. This could be like a buddy cop movie. One of them's a dwarf, only 200 years from retirement. The other one's a plucky young elf.
That's couple.
I turn to Nauta. They appear to have no concern for the fact that neither of us can see in the dark. I will take care of this. And I will pull from my component pouch a small smooth pebble, upon which I shall cast light. Lumiere.
Oh, you're a handy one to have around.
I'm not going to lie. The Canadian in me is really going to be just giddy to listen to you butcher the French language.
Oh, hey, this is D&D. It's not French.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It's ish.
It's Eric Cochran.
Exactly.
So, Vallana, and I am saying that name right? Vallana? Yeah, okay. As soon as you walk through, you get approximately 5 feet in, and you are suddenly met with a chasm. A huge drop just extends out. You see a few pieces of the floor still jutting up from this oblivion in different platforms, reaching up to the door. In the corner, as you look on your left-hand side, you see what appears to be kind of a raised platform in the corner of the room, still supported by whatever it is that is supporting it. And it appears to be another kind of a section of like concentric kind of rings going up into what looks to be an altar and a stone dais in the corner. You see a scattering of some coins and a few candles, which have been long since extinguished. And the melted wax kind of going across, it seems to be an altar of some sort.
How wide is the chasm?
You see that it extends the entire kind of the entire length of the room. However, there are big chunks of the floor that reach up from this chasm, going straight up, like looking straight down. Even with your superior dark vision, you can't see the bottom. It just appears to go into an inky blackness that your eyes can't seem to penetrate.
And does it extend all the way up to the dais?
It does, although there is a large chunk of floor that is probably approximately 10, 15 feet. So with a running jump, it's possible to kind of get to the first one, and then you'd have to run and jump to get to the dais itself.
Okay. She would kind of put her hand out and say, "Watch your step. It is a long ways down, it seems."
And as you, Belthrum, now come into, you see the same thing, this deep chasm with several chunks of the floor still kind of rising up. It must have been, and especially being a dwarf, you realize now that it must have been either a cave-in or something that had fallen, and kind of like there was a pocket of air trapped underneath, and the floor just gave way unto itself.
Kind of looked around, look back at the two behind me. I will not be jumping this. Any thoughts?
Well, if you don't want to play hopscotch, I do have a rope and a javelin. We could always try a little hand-over-hand action if you need it.
Sorry. Mike, how far is it to the altar? To the stable ground on the other side?
So there's an altar to the left corner, but right across the room is where you see the door that leads onward. So in the left-hand corner, that's where you see an altar. It's probably about 25 feet. But you would have to jump from basically one section of floor onto the next section of floor, and then from that section onto where the altar is.
What about you, Vallana? What is your preferred way to get across this chasm?
I could certainly make the jump. However, ice is very slippery, and a wrong move would mean certain death. If we could find an alternate route or an alternate means across, that would be preferable. I don't have any intentions of dying today.
Is the temperature in here sub-freezing? Muted.
At least once a session.
Yep.
It's not sub-freezing, but as you exhale, you definitely feel it. It feels colder in here, strangely, than it does outside.
Are the walls and floor made of ice?
You see that there's stone, but there's stone that has been subjected to icy temperatures. So you can see a small sheen of ice developing on a few of the different areas.
If you would like, I can go to the altar and secure a rope so that all of you may have a safer passage.
Now, keep in mind, the altar is not where the door is.
So the chasm is between the altar and the door?
Correct. So as soon as you walk in, as you look straight on, like through the room, at the very right-hand corner, I don't know why I'm pointing with my hand, but that's just a force of habit. As you look at the very far end, there's a door that seems to lead onward. To the left is in the left-hand corner, as you walk in, that's where you see this altar.
Okay, then the question is, do we want to see the altar and see what may be on it, or do we want to go straight for the door?
I'm all for path of least resistance.
Do we see anything other than just the altar? Does it look like there's anything there, or is it just an old altar?
Looks to be an old altar. The wax of the candles on the altar have long since like melted down and frozen over. There appears to be a few coins scattered on the altar, which have like that kind of little bit of frost, so it's kind of a bit shiny and sparkly. And before any of you get your greed, your avarice in, they seem to be like coppery in color, so it's not no big wealth there.
The danger does not seem to be worth the gains. I say we go for the door.
Does the door appear to have... I mean, is it an open door or closed door? Is there a handle to it?
There isn't. Sorry, not door, but doorway. That was I apologize for that one. And there appears to be like a good 4 or 5 feet of like kind of ridge on top of it, like a ledge that you can jump onto. So basically, it would be basically a nice little hop, skip, and a jump. Right over with absolutely nothing terrible or awful happening in any way, shape, or form.
Nauta, hand me the end of the rope. As the worst case, if nothing... Actually, I don't know, now that I think about it. I don't know if I can take the rope with me in this way. You have said...
Sorry, I was going to say, as far as flight, like if you're going to take flight...
I only have one wing. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
My right wing is missing, and my left wing hangs like over my shoulder, almost like a cloak. Mademoiselle de Vantage is a raven Aarakocra. Just as Lloyd is in the chat telling me, "Fly, you fool!"
Just looking at that. Fly, you fool. No flappy.
No, actually, I will tell. Sorry, what were you saying, Mike? About? You were saying
nothing.
About flight.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say flight. You can fly over. It's the ceiling is high enough that you're not gonna like scrape along the ceiling or nothing, and you can just hold on to it. Or you can jump. Like I said, it's a 15-foot.
I did not jump. And just like that, I'm going to Misty Step over to the door.
All right. And how far is Misty Step?
Misty Step, I can go up to 30 feet.
Okay, so you could Misty Step up to the 3rd pillar, which is almost at the door. So it's still going to be another jump to get to the door. As you land on that section, how do you do it? Describe to me how you just Misty Step on there.
I just look at the others. I take a step forward, and for a moment, there is an after image of myself that literally just goes, dissipates, a single raven feather fluttering down. And as if I've just taken a single step, the mist reappears. I am now stepping onto that 3rd pillar with just a slight trail of mist that kind of catches up to me.
And as you make it to and land on that one spot, it's just like this kind of like a little bit of a rush of wind from wings that used to be, and you can feel the wind kind of catch up to you as it blows a few. You just hear like these few little pebbles and grit just fall off, just like bouncing, ricocheting in between the different little little ledges, these unseen ledges as they kind of just, and then you hear a bit of like, and then another 10 feet away is the final ledge.
Do you want to show me the rope now, or perhaps after I am across to the other side?
Whichever's easier for you.
I'm thinking I do not wish to attempt to catch a rope while standing on this narrow pillar. I'm going to try to make the jump.
All right.
How far is the edge of the that he's jumping to? Like, how far are we from the last spot he has to jump to?
It's about 40 feet from where you guys are standing now to that ledge. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to make the jump. What do I need to do?
Okay, I'd like you to roll me an athletics check.
Athletics, not acrobatics.
No, I'm sorry.
This could be the shortest character I've ever played. Yep, that is a 4.
So as you run to take a step, and you're about to leap off, you feel something very quickly swipe at your leg. It feels like a bony hand just grabbing at your leg, and for a moment you feel like you've got the inertia. You think you've got it, and as this hand grabs you, it just kind of catches you just for a moment. I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Can do that. That is a +2. That is going to be a 16.
So as you look just in fear for a moment, and as the lights, like you, and for the three of you watch these kind of dancing orbs kind of moving around, and all of a sudden, as it jumps, even for you, especially Nauta, because you can't see terribly far, you just see the lights go forward, and straight down. And as for you, Mademoiselle, you scrabble on. You manage to catch, and the lights just begin to hover around you. And only now do you see, as you're looking through, is this pillar is just a writhing mass of skeletal beings with kind of very dimly glowing blue eyes and blue light coming from their undead maws. They kind of turn all to you as you're clinging on to this one ledge, and they begin to kind of reach out towards you.
I'm scrabbling my bird ass up, trying to get back up on this other side.
Sounds good. All right, make me an athletics check.
Actually, you know what? At that point, I don't think I would even waste time doing that. Almost reflexively, I would mutter a faux French curse, and I would Misty Step again up to the door.
Sure.
I have a second slot that I can use that for.
Okay.
So yeah, rather than trying, since I've already almost fallen, just dissipating and reappearing at the door, back against the door, turning to look around at the others. It is very slippery. And I would glance at this writhing pillar of undead creatures, and I would just say to the others, you must be more sure-footed than I was. The footing can be very tricky. Watch yourselves. And I'm going to ready myself to cover them, but I'm not specifically going to tell them about the skeletons just yet.
That's nice.
And the way he was slipping, we couldn't see that happening, no?
No.
Okay.
No, just just from the fact, it's almost like he must have hit a rock. His foot must have just hit like a stone as he was jumping over. Well, she, you know, Aarakocra, you know, they're good for flying, they're good for running and jumping, probably not as good as an elf. You know, so it's just like that. What about the three of you?
Well, who wants to do the hop, skip, jump next? Or do we want to get the rope over?
If you think it would be easier, you could tie it to the javelin as you suggested. Throw it over here, and I can secure it, perhaps.
Why don't we give that a go?
How much space do I have on this side by the door?
You have approximately about 5 feet.
Like,
you know,
but
5,
I mean
6,
on either side of me.
Yeah, it's like 5 feet in either way. You got like 10 in total, but I mean you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you could easily stretch out.
So would all of us even fit over there, or we would have to go through that door before we all get there?
Fine.
You'd probably have to go through all together, unless one of you is really, really small, like halfling small, because dwarves are they're short, but you know they're stocky fellas. So you know they're stocky people, stocky bearded people. So yeah, unless you had a.
I am thinking if you get the javelin over here, and hopefully one of you has better aim so as not to hit me, I can put it in the door this way, and it will be anchored for you to come across more easily. If this is something you would like to do, yes?
Works for me.
I'm gonna shine my light real quick into this door.
But
Sure.
the rope would be helpful.
I just want to make sure I'm not like, especially with what I've seen, I want to make sure what's in this other room before I do
No worries.
anything.
So as you kind of like put this light down, you see some stairs going down, and it just seems to be a hallway that ends at a bit of a bend.
Okay. All right, I am ready when you are.
Okay. How do you want to do this, Mike?
Roll me an attack roll.
Okay.
If you roll a 1, that would suck.
That would suck, except it was an 11.
All right. So as you hurl the javelin with the rope attached, and you see for a moment that you don't think, Mademoiselle, it's even gonna make it. It sails through the air, and with the rope, you can even see it starting to wobble because it's not used to that kind of extra, like even just a little bit of weight, as javelins are weighted for balance. So you see it kind of move. It's wobbling. You think it's actually going to fall into the hole when it actually wedges itself between two stones on your ledge. You needed a 10, so you literally just made it.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So you see the javelin kind of in there, pierced in between the two rocks. I'm assuming you're going to secure it.
Yeah, I want to remove it, and my plan is to kind of go through this doorway and turn it crossways so it forms like a bar in the doorway.
Yeah, I got you. So as you kind of plunk it in, it seems to be pretty good. Really quickly, though. Really quickly. Now, I know I didn't do the whole, like, hey, everyone, describe what you look like. But I assume, being a paladin and being a cleric, you guys are in heavy armor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. That's it. Absolutely nothing bad is going to happen.
Yeah, right.
You're a monster. So who's going to be first to cross this totally not dangerous area in any way, shape, or form?
So Belthrum will look over at Vallana, gestures with one hand. Would you care to go? Or shall I?
If you go first, then I can catch you when you fall.
Turns to Nauta. I like this one. She is funny.
She's a feisty one.
Just so.
Yep. Sorry.
Did we secure the rope on this end?
If by we you mean me, then yes. Oh, you mean on your end?
Yeah, on the far on the far end yes, Mademoiselle de Vantage has already kind of secured it in place. You're holding the rope. You can see a few spots where you can kind of tie it up, so that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to do the whole like make an investigation check. No, you can tie it up. You know, everyone's kind of pretty understanding about how rope works. So as you tie it up, it forms a fairly taut but not too taut kind of a thing for you to go across. Now I'm assuming when going, are you just going to go like hand over hand and foot over foot kind of a deal?
Yeah, it takes him. I imagine that we've tied it at a height that's usable for all three of us. So I've got to kind of jump at it a little bit. It takes me a couple of tries to get to it, but then just slowly hand over hand.
All right.
Grunting as I go.
Okay. Give me one quick sec. I'm going to make a roll. Okay. So as you you can hear the rope protesting as you're climbing over. Now, are you guys even going to be touching any of the kind of platforms that have like the natural kind of raised flooring platforms?
I won't be. I figure
I'm going with momentum here.
Yeah, just keep going.
Yeah. So as you're going, basically hand over hand, I just need you to make one athletics check.
15.
So this is nothing to you. I mean, you've pulled up pails out of wells that have been tougher than this. And you're just going hand over hand, not a problem. But you do hear out of the kind of just in the background as you're going over, even through the straining and the protest of the rope, you can hear a skittering, like a cockroach kind of like playing maracas somewhere in the corner. You can hear this kind of rattling in the dark. And although your dark vision is quite clear, you can't quite see it, but you can hear something is moving with you, and it's not the other three.
So you say moving with me, but like in the dark beneath me?
Yeah, like something beneath you is moving. It
okay.
Sounds like it's skittering.
Okay. So do I make it to the other side, or I just?
Yes. Yeah. As you continue going, you eventually make it.
So I'll drop down at the edge with a thump. I'll turn, yell across, "My ladies, there is something in the darkness. Please be careful."
Oh, that sounds so reassuring. Well, my darling, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Your choice, Nauta. But you have to know, it wouldn't be nearly as exciting or interesting if there wasn't something in the dark. That's how all the best ones go.
I like the way you think.
Besides, that's how I lost these fingers.
Well, at least you can still pinch. There's some things worth pinching, you know. Mm-hmm. All right, well, I'm going to go first. So athletics check? Yes. Okay. 11 again.
All right. As you go across, I'm going to make a special roll.
Mm-hmm.
So as you begin to go, you begin to hear, or you begin to feel the rope is getting a bit more taut, and it's starting to feel kind of a bit different. Like you know how to handle rope. I mean, who doesn't in medieval fantasy everything? you can feel it getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and even though you're going over, like you feel the fibers begin to vibrate as you're moving. You're trying to go slowly, and Mademoiselle de Vantage, as you stand in your area, you can see now that the rope is tied to the javelin, but the javelin is starting to bend inward towards the door. What would you like to do?
Belthrum, s'il vous plaît. You are a bit stronger than I am. Perhaps you can help to maintain this.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought it was just me that's muted.
No, Dwight does it all the time, too.
All the time. So I will, Belthrum will walk over or jog over to the doorway where the javelin is wedged. Just all of his considerable weight up against it as he tries to jam it back in place and sturdy it.
Okay.
How far above the ground is it?
Far.
Extremely okay. Far. Like it's like if you were to look down the chasm, even with your dark vision, like it just goes into complete and utter blackness.
No, I mean how far above the ground is the javelin that's been?
Oh, sorry. It's kind of like in a door right now. Okay. So it's kind of wedged. It's wedged in there, but it's because it's made of wood, and you have a human being wearing basically chainmail armor, heavy armor. Javelin's made out, like, even though the javelin's got a metal point on the end of it, it's heavy, and it's starting to be too much for this wooden javelin. I mean, it would have been fine if you had, all of you had hollow bones like a certain Aarakocra who shall not be nameless.
Physics, it's fun.
Physics, it's everyone's own worst enemy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you feel it now. What are you gonna? If you need, so you make me the athletics check to kind of see if you can try to brace and hold on to the javelin, or a strength saving throw.
14.
Okay. As you're holding the javelin, you hear it crack, crack, crack. And with your strength saving throw, it actually eventually ends up giving out. I need you to make an athletics check to keep onto the rope, Nauta.
Okay, athletics, you said?
Yes.
All right, that's going to be a 23.
Nice. So you managed to keep onto the rope, even though it begins to kind of like move you up and down, as you're just holding on for dear life. Now you're basically holding on to it, Belthrum. You're keeping the rope from snapping as you're holding on to it, and you just feel the grip, the nylon fibers just kind of digging into your skin. You need to move, and you need to move fast, or you are going to end up in a very unfortunate state. Nauta.
Okay, so
make me an athletics check, just to try and get there as quickly as you possibly can.
Okay, 13.
Okay, you hand over, you're moving fast, and of course, Vallana, you're watching all this happen as she's going across. You finally make it, Nauta. You hit the ground, and for a moment, you just see what looks to be a bunch of very, very faint blue lights that are all hugging the other side of this pillar. And just for a moment, all of these tiny little pairs of blue lights seem to just move up as one and just lock eyes straight with you.
You both are seeing this, right?
Are we able to see that too, or?
So for you, because you have dark vision, you're able to see it's a bunch of these undead, these skeletal beings that are hugging silently onto this pillar. And they kind of look at you, and at once you begin to see some of them kind of jerk, and they begin to move their hands and begin to climb up the sides of this one pillar. Vallana, what are you going to be doing? Actually, better yet, what are the three of you going to do
Can I take the rope and sort of do like the wrap around the forearm and brace myself against the door to make sure it's held for Vallana?
Sure. If you do that, however, it is going to be a bit lower. So you're so just to let you know, like it's not going to be exactly be like high up that you can move across. But yeah, you can totally do that.
And there's nothing to tie it onto around the door area?
Not really. It's basically just stone and then just a doorway, and that's it.
Okay. All right. Bracing myself.
All right. Consider yourself braced. So Vallana, you want to jump? If you're going to jump on the rope, now would probably be a good time to do it.
Does the rope cross over where the pillars are?
Yes, it does. And you muted.
I hit the wrong button. I would like to take a bit of a small piece of my own rope, loop it around that, tie it to my belt, and I'm going to jump to the pillars, and then that's like my belay. Little bit of a carabiner.
Nice.
So hopefully I won't need Nauta to hold it the whole length of me climbing across, but
okay.
If I happen to roll poorly and slip, then I shouldn't fall to my doom.
Sure. So as you go, you go across, leap. So you're going to leap to the next?
Yep.
All right, let's do this. Make me an athletics.
Open up that character sheet. There we go. Oh, that's not great. Oh dear. 8.
Domain die.
Oh.
Use a domain die.
I should do that.
You can burn a domain die and re-roll.
You have my blessing.
Yeah. Okay. 13.
All right.
Not a lot better, but
no, but you know what? It's just enough. As you run, you don't think you're going to make it, but you just manage to like leap across, kind of moving your arms forward as momentum, and you manage to just land on the balls of your feet. You manage to land on the edge of the first chasm. And just for a moment, like you just feel everything stop, all the noises, even your own heart. And you look, you can see the others are trying to like get you to like come on and hurry up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
I think I kind of like pull on that rope to steady myself and pull myself forwards because I was leaning back.
Fils de pute.
Oops. And you can for you, let's see. Yeah, for you, Belthrum, you begin to see now the skeletons beginning to climb and climb and climb, and for the first time, Vallana, you actually see like kind of a skeletal arm, kind of like in this kind of jerky, horror movie centric kind of way. You see it kind of snap. Bits of like frozen flesh still like hang on to its skin, blackened from frostbite. It begins to like kind of climb up onto that final ledge, that third ledge, and it kind of beams at you, and it almost like kind of tastes the air in its own way. It's kind of like drawing in this air, and it's kind of looking at you. It draws this rusty, partially broken longsword, and begins to kind of drag it through the frozen rock, frozen rocky floor, toward like kind of looking at you on this one pillar.
Fils de pute. I swear. That was French for son of a bitch. Anyway, can I take a shot at this thing?
Yeah, go for it.
Being the first over there and having braced the javelin, I was kind of standing more or less at the ready. And I'm simply going to I am going to just fire off a firebolt at this thing. If nothing else, to try to distract it. let's see. That's a ranged spell attack. With an 18 on the die, that's a 23 to hit.
Yeah, you definitely hit.
So that thing is going to take 7 points of fire damage.
And you hear it kind of squeal as it's like walking towards you. It gets engulfed in this flame in the pillar in front of you, Vallana, and you just see for a moment kind of this blue and white light come like pouring out of it, like kind of a thick hoary frosty mist, and then the bones just kind of scatter. And you see the last part of it. You just see its skull kind of and just fall down the chasm.
I was going to tell you about those sooner or later.
Oh, really?
I thought it best, perhaps, if you did not know when you were trying to come across.
Because I love surprises when my life is in danger. That's the best time for them. Really. Imminent peril. Surprise. Woohoo!
Well,
Next time, let's do the sooner instead of the later.
I will make sure that you know everything that I know, but within your capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So you see now that Belthrum, you especially see that there are more. So now that there are several now that are beginning to climb up, like dig their bony hands into whatever rock they can find, whatever crevice, and they begin to climb up. And now they begin to climb up in not just 2, not just 3, but 10. You just see them constantly moving up, like kind of like an army of undead ants, slowly climbing up this pillar up onto the actual top of it itself.
So Belthrum reaches and pulls his warhammer out and turns to his friends. There are many, many more. We should go.
I will continue my jumping.
All right, go for it. Make me an athletics check.
So I rolled and I got a 13 again.
Nice, because that you're very lucky because you just make it onto the very edge of the pillar, and now that you're on this third pillar, you begin to see now undead hands, rusted helms begin to start to pop up and over the edges onto your pillar.
Yep, we're going again.
All right.
Shoot, that one's a 7. My dice are not rolling above like a 12 tonight.
Not a problem. Make me, well, that's unfortunate for you, but I
Yes.
So make me a dexterity saving throw.
Now those I'm good at. Oh, and that's an 18 on the die. So that'll be a lot for me.
So as you go to run again, another of these skeletons kind of grabs your foot. You feel for a moment, your entire momentum just stops as you kind of go over. Nauta, you can just see Vallana's hand kind of reach out towards you with this look of fear as she begins to fall.
Sorry.
That's all right. We're all cat people except for Jake, who's a monster.
Just because I don't have one?
Pretty much, yeah. So as you fall, luckily you don't fall very far. Let's see. Yeah, you only fall about 20 feet. You could just see the darkness like kind of enveloping you as you fall, but you manage to grab a hold onto one of the like kind of unseen ledges.
Yeah, and I've got the rope as well that I'm hooked onto.
Yeah, the rope now, unfortunately, though, is about a 40-foot rope. So luckily you didn't fall to the full extent, or else you would have taken a bit of pain there. Even as it stands, you take 5 points of bludgeoning as you manage to like catch yourself on the ledge. You still kind of get hurt a bit. But now, I assume now you're going to want to climb up.
Absolutely.
Indeed. And I'm assuming also that Nauta, who's really, really cool and helpful and totally a team player in every way, shape, and form, is going to give you a hand and give you a help up. So if you want to roll, Nauta, give me, as long as it's above a 10.
And that'll be a 14.
Heck yeah. So if you want to roll with advantage, Vallana, it'll be in athletics, providing your cat hasn't eaten your d20.
She likes the d20s because they roll really well, but the last one she picked up was a d4.
Ooh, Calthrope.
Yeah, so that's a 20 non-natural.
Boom. So as you climb up, it's like no problem for you. You're just leaping from ledge to ledge. You can see easily going all the way up the chasm, and as you get up onto the ledge, finally, you get a moment to breathe. You see now that that final ledge, all of you, is just covered in the undead. They begin to actually march toward you. Broken spears and bent swords, cracked shields, and they just begin to walk. They begin to walk and just fall right through, like right down the chasm, but they make no sound, just the sound of wind moving through their bones as they just begin to fall and march towards you. A couple of them try and throw their spears or their javelins or anything that they may have in their hands at you, but it's all for naught. They have nothing to it. So for right now, all you can do is watch as soldiers, these long dead soldiers, continue to fall, moving towards you. So behind you, you see some stairs moving down into a hallway that turns that looks like it turns a corner, but it appears to be a door just on the other side.
In all honesty, do you think you would have done better if you had known that those creatures were there? Or would it have been more difficult to steel yourself for the jumping?
You assume I am afraid. Mistakenly.
I assume everyone is afraid. And you, dwarf, are you not a cleric? Do you not specialize in abilities for dealing with undead?
I do. When we are fighting them, they seem to be jumping to their second death.
They're more like just mindless idiots. You have to save these things for certain occasions.
I was just checking.
Well, you check your stuff, we'll check our stuff. Tell us what the stuff is going on, and let's get moving.
Very well. After you. I mean, you did want to lead, Vallana, yes?
Yes. I can not only see in the dark, but as I said, I am light-footed, and if there's thin ice, perhaps me better than some of our number.
Agreed.
As you begin to walk down, you don't think it would get any colder, but for some reason, as you begin to continuously walk down this hallway, it just feels colder and colder. It just seems to get into the pores of your skin, and no matter what you do, you just can't seem to bundle up enough. As you finally get to this door, it's only about 50 feet down this hallway. Immediately it jogs to the right, and you see a door that looks like it had been crushed and smashed off its hinges. The overall doorway kind of opens up into this room, and there appears to be a stairwell going up. What's that in? There seems to be a stairwell leading up, kind of in the far, like as you're looking in the room, to like on the far right corner. There appears to be a stairwell going up. There appears to be the room appears to jog left, and there's another door. And in front of you, on a dais, is what looks to be a great sword. And it's a beautifully, intricately carved greatsword, which would be a stunning find to grab if it weren't for the severed hand that has been carved with strange runes that is still gripping the handle of this greatsword. Flanking or on the wall behind this plinth, you see a collection of swords kind of in a kind of half sun, this kind of half circle pattern, the blades pointing up in like kind of like almost like a sun ray or sunburst design. You see what looks to be a well, at one point it might have been a very beautiful carpet, but has now been shredded, moth-eaten, and partially frozen to the ground. And you see a few what looks to be display cases, which have been smashed and opened and are now a little better than firewood. What would you like to do?
Are there any lights in this room? Is there any sign that anyone has been in here? Any torches? Any footprints in snow?
You see what looks to be sconces, and there appears to be torches, but torches that have not been lit for centuries.
And there's no sign of people. I mean, they said something like 22 dozen people were missing.
Correct.
And Vallana's kind of looking around. She shrugs. They're interesting things, but none of the warm, fleshy, living things that we're looking for.
Noticing a trend. I'm gonna light a torch. I got 10 of them. Might as well light one.
There you go. As soon as you walk into the room, the torches seem to just flare up with this kind of blue-white fire and cast very strange shadows dancing across the entire room with the swords and the other objects. But they all begin to flicker, and you just hear this, and you even hear that sound off into the distance as well.
Right. I think it's safe to say they know that we are here.
Safe assumption. Unless you just did that with the lights.
That was not me.
This is the only light I got.
As you hold up Nauta, you can actually even see the fire kind of beginning to dim as it gets near to this flame. It's almost as if the heat is getting pulled from these cold fire torches. And you, again, instead of what should be this nice warm, these nice warm torches, it just again, it feels cold. And you hear all around, even with the, like, almost in tune with the dancing, with these dancing cold fire, you can hear shuffling and moving, but it just seems always just in earshot, but you're not sure where it comes from.
I think it's safe to say we're not alone.
I am intrigued by the rune covered. Was it the sword or the hand gripping the sword that was covered in runes?
Upon closer inspection of the greatsword, you can see it also covered in some type of rune. You're not exactly sure what it is, but if you want to, you can make an arcane check or a knowledge arcana check to see what kind of runes they are.
If less than an hour has passed since we came through the great front doors, my comprehend languages spell is still active.
Sure.
However, I have to be touching it in order to be able to read it.
Do you want to touch it? I mean...
That's always one of those scary GM phrases.
Yeah, I mean,
touch the thing?
I think...
You want to put your tongue on it? I mean...
Or, another whole detect good and evil thing we could throw into the mix if we wanted to.
I would like to read these runes. I have the ability to do so. But I must touch the sword and this hand if I am to do this. Vallana,
Yes, of course. Don't worry. I will kill you if something goes horribly wrong.
Well, that is not what I was going to ask. I was going to say,
No.
what can you see with your keen eyes? Is there anything I should be careful of?
Can I check for traps?
For sure.
And I have almost said, what do your elf eyes see?
I caught that.
Oh.
That was not
Big
a graceful tiptoe.
Big chunk of ice falls, kills.
I didn't actually say it.
Died of Lord of the Rings puns.
Is it sleight of hand, investigation?
It would be an investigation.
Okay, that's a 12.
Okay. From that roll, nothing appears to be trapped per se. You can see that some of these plinths and these other like display cases at some point might have had some alarms on them, or at least some sort of like you can see some wire that sticks out of some of these broken things. Like it would have been at some point. The sword itself, there doesn't seem to be much on it. There's quite a bit of frost covering the blade. The hand that I mean, if you really want to do an good investigation here, the hand that is gripping the sword does not seem to have been cut off, but rather gnawed off. You can clearly see bite marks and rips at the hands, and then the swords in the pattern. Although they're all very intricately and very nicely designed, they doesn't appear to be trapped.
Yeah, Vallana kind of makes a circle around this area, hands behind her back, kind of bending down to poke at things. She stands up, she goes, oh, well, I don't think there are any mundane issues. If it's magical, that's your own fault. But as far as I can tell, it's just a hand that got gnawed off an arm and a sword.
Essentially getting the all clear, I am already starting to kind of make my true Eric Cochran nature seems to kind of move to the forefront as my head begins to kind of do that rapid head cocking thing. And I'm kind of making slight clicking and cooing, almost cooing sounds, like low raven sounds. And I reach out with a hand to gently reach across the severed hand to touch it so that I may comprehend what these runes say. And if nothing happens, I would also then trace down to the sword to do the same.
Oh, so you're going to touch the hand?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes, she said hesitantly.
So, as you kind of like just gently brush a hand over across this hand, not surprisingly, is a dead hand. The curse on there is it is a curse that is written across that hand, and it says it just says this hand won't leave this sword until another one takes its place.
Before I translate that, I would like to see what the runes on the sword itself say.
All right. Now, I will say that, and I'm being too generous here. I mean, I know Lloyd is in chat right now, and he's probably screaming at me, "Don't you do it, Michael! Don't you bloody well do it!" But I'm going to do it. You can read them by simply doing a knowledge arcana check. It requires no spell. You can just make me a knowledge arcana check to look at the blade to see what it is.
Honestly,
but if
honestly, I think I would touch it. I mean,
all right.
She's very much about hands-on investigation, and I had already committed to the action. Lloyd's already telling me to strap on a pair.
All right. I'm just okay. There it is. Thank you. Okay. So as you put your hand on the blade, you the runes begin to take shape and begin to shift and move and almost into common, and it has your name on it. It has your name written on it, and it has a list of all of these valorous deeds that you have yet to do. I need you to make me a charisma saving throw.
Okay. I'm going to do this, but I'm also going to invoke my arcane tradition feature. As a war mage, I have something called arcane deflection. As a reaction, I can use that to grant myself a +4 to saving throws.
Nice. You're going to need it.
And that was a charisma save, so that's going to be a +6 on top of a 17, so a 23.
As you're looking at it, it just seems so strange. I mean, you're reading the history of a sword that you've just seen or just met, for lack of a better term, today, and you see it now. Defeated the backstabbing, evil Vallana, slayed the twisted Nauta, cleaved the blasphemer Belthrum. And you look and you kind of find that strange, and you just kind of casually look to your left and realize that your hand is almost on the hilt of the blade, and you manage to kind of stop yourself for a moment.
I see. I can't help but see this almost like when Frodo offered Galadriel the ring, as I'm reciting these things. I'm reading these runes out loud. The story of this sword echoing through this chamber as I'm reaching for it. And then at the last moment, I kind of snap out of it. So I'm saying this stuff aloud, what is said on here.
And at that moment, when you snap your hand back, you see now that you're still in the same room, everyone around kind of looking at you like, dude.
Do not touch this sword. Do not lay a single hand on it. It would be very bad.
Noted. Especially after what you were saying while touching it.
However, you do look behind, and of course you do see other weapons, and these weapons appear to be immaculate. I mean, gorgeous. They are, the steel appears to be like almost freshly forged, and everything about them appears to be, they seem to be brand new swords.
Show of hands for who has a weapon currently.
I'm not in the market.
All right, let's keep walking. Yes? Yes.
My mind is my weapon.
Yeah, close enough.
Just because it's shiny doesn't mean it's good.
Hold on. I'm just looking at how to say Casse-toi.
Oh, you're trying, and that's adorable.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
If I think so. But at any rate,
Moving along.
Yeah. So directly behind you, you see a door, another doorway with stairs, or not really with stairs, but like just another doorway that seems to be entering into a room. You can see a couple of tables. To your left, you see kind of, it looks like to be like writing scrawled in a kind of arch pattern around on a section of wall. And then like your eyes just moving over, you can see a stair, like a thing of stairs going up. And again, that is those are the different ways that you can go.
And there's still no sign of the people we are looking for?
You see nothing.
You said there were stairs going which way? Up, down?
So they're, in the left-hand corner of the room, you can see a thing of stairs going up. You see some writing in an archway pattern, kind of like off to the left. And behind you is another doorway. And then to the right is just the door that you would come from.
The undead are below us. I say we go up.
There's some more writing around the door. What do you think of Mademoiselle?
This door has the writing on the archway?
No, actually, it's just writing on an archway, in an archway pattern on a solid wall.
Sorry, I thought you were being a dick.
No.
I said,
No.
I said, is there writing in an archway? And you're like, no, there's writing in an archway.
No, there's writing in an archway, like basically in an archway pattern.
Okay, it's arched writing. Okay, yeah. If I can touch it, I can translate it, unless it's something I can read already.
You can.
Actually, given my last experience, if possible, I would have liked to attempt to read it with Arcana.
Sure. Roll me an Arcana check.
Let's see. That's a +5. Man, it's an 11.
Okay. Nothing happens. It's not written in any magical script. It's just written in an older language. So I mean, as you look at it, like you can clearly see with your spell still in effect, the letters moving around in the pattern, and it says, "Pay the price. Not copper, silver, gold, or platinum will satisfy me. Only the richest will open me."
I repeat aloud to the others.
I'm with Belthrum. Let's go up.
Yeah. Let's keep moving.
Sure.
Mysterious magical archways are unlikely to have been opened by missing people.
Or anything good.
Yeah, that too.
There is a certain practicality to your reasoning. So if we're going a different way, I will look longingly at the writing on the arch and reluctantly go with you.
Come along, pretty bird. You don't want to go that way.
Or do you? So as you make your way up the stairs, you begin to see cells as you walk through the door. You see different prison cells, and in each one you see large groups of former prisoners. These individuals, their bodies frozen and stacked like cordwood. They're some of them seems to be their last moments, have been trying to use the corpses to keep warmth in this horrible frigid hellscape. You see a bunch of them just like frozen to bars. You see hands that have like been frozen stiff and snapped off. And you see like a whole manner of different instruments of extracting information in very horrible ways, running along racks on a far wall. Everything seems to be tight. Like everything seems to be really, really tight. There's no way, like there's not a lot of room. You can feel the whole room beginning to close in on you, and it becomes hard to breathe in here. And you can again feel your breath being stolen away by the frigid loneliness of this place. So I mean, it's like a tourist trap, right?
How recent do these bodies look?
They probably look a good couple hundred years old. A lot of them are just frozen stiff. Even like some of the you think some of the ones that have been, even there, the earliest is still about 50, 60 years.
And are they all touching something?
They're all like stacked up. They're just tossed aside as if there's nothing, until you get to the very last cell. This one cell in the corner oddly feels a bit warmer than the others, and there's one body inside. This individual is clothed in chainmail and appears to have died not terribly long ago, but you see massive jagged slash marks across like basically across the chest. You see a large, what looks to be an incredibly large bite mark torn out of the side of the neck, which has led to blood freezing into the frosty ground of this cell. The hands appear to be broken and maimed, and there doesn't appear to be a weapon nearby. The body begins to kind of jerk and twist and move, and you see the mouth begins to open, and you see these hands begin to pull out. These ethereal hands begin to push out of the side of the mouth, pulling it wide and yet not doing anything, as it begins, an ethereal version of this individual begins to pull itself out. It begins to stretch out. You see the mouth going wider and wider, almost as if it would snap right off, yet nothing appears to happen, as it just kind of, this ghostly form of this dead individual stands before you, its body kind of like jerking, and as a collective breath, you hear sudden silence. And as your breath goes out, it pulls in this breath. And that's where we're going to take a break, just for about 5 or 6 minutes. And we'll be right back. If you guys want to plug anything, awesome. But I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
All right, this is a good time to mention, at the very beginning, we did a promotion for V's channel, the Crafting Muse, specifically for the Terror Muffins
Yep. You're wearing
fundraiser
it.
that's going on. So, V, if you want to go ahead and drop that link in the chat again, that would be fantastic. And then I'm just going to plug something real quick. And I'm going to drop a chat as well, or drop a link as well. Just today, I launched, after 3 years of considering whether or not to do it, I finally did it. And I have launched the Mini Terrain Domain Patreon page. If you feel so moved to become a patron, there's lots of cool benefits, not least of which is, well, I guess actually by definition, it is the least of which. At the lowest tier, everybody gets access to a new weekly blog. It will alternate between a blog and a vlog, with lots of updates of what's going on the channel. And then there are going to be sneak peeks of various projects, both on crafting and role-playing. Also, any one-shot adventures that I run, I'm at the, I can't remember now if it's a second or third tier. I think it's the second tier. You will get copies, PDF copies of all of my outlines and notes, suggested monsters, all that kind of stuff. As well as for crafting, any work in progress, pictures. I will provide sketches and design notes as PDFs as well. All the way up to higher tiers, where you can get a chance to play in a monthly patron only one shot on the channel. At the master tier, which is only $12 a month, you will get access to interest posts 48 hours before anybody else does. So just check out the Patreon and see if you're interested. I think it's awesome if you just consider it, whether or not you do it. I mean, the most important thing is nothing is going away. I'm not taking away anything that we already do and hiding it behind a paywall. everything is going to continue just like it is. I'm just doing a few extra things for those people that have asked me for ways that they can contribute to the stream. So that's what I have to. Well, real quick, Thursday night, be sure to tune in here to Mini Terrain Domain for episode 6 of the Sunless Citadel, where V is a player, Megan is also a player, DM Scotty, and Jeremy as well, where that's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. V, what do you got to plug?
My channel's almost at 5K. I'm like, I think it's 102 subscribers away from 5K. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, go on over to YouTube and check out the Crafting Muse, where you can check out and see how I do miniature painting, terrain creation, scatter, game accessories, and some tips for playing with kids along the way. So it's one of those things where I greatly appreciate it, and we'll see. And also coming up in November, you can find myself, Wylock, and Scotty over at Mace. That is in Charlotte, North Carolina, from November 9th into the 11th. We're actually going to be playing a charity game where I believe there are 3 tickets that are up for auction, where you could have a chance to sit down and play with me and Scotty and Bill. If you would like to do that, I'll try and find the link while other people are talking. And I'll also be at PAX Unplugged. If you're going to be there, I'll be there. Make sure you say hi. So that's what I'm going to plug for now.
Dwight, you got anything you want to plug?
Not at the moment. Still working on stuff, but nothing that really is coming to fruition anytime soon. So,
well, then I'm just going to say, look above Dwight's head. There's his Twitter handle at BigBeardedNerd. You're going to want to check that channel out because you're going to see some great things coming from him. Check everybody's out. V's above her head, mine, Mike's, and Taylor's. Mom's the Nerd. Taylor's our guest this week, so make extra certain that you're following all of these fine folks on Twitter for some great RPG content. Taylor, do you got anything you want to plug?
I don't think so. I've run a few games on my channel, just a handful. I've started playing some in the setting that I've created. I got to play in that for the first time this weekend, which was really fun.
That's awesome. I'll plug your channel. Subscribe to the Mom's the Nerd. I got to play in the first ever playtest of Second World with Megan, and for some reason I cannot remember who the other players were.
They're saying plug vampire in the chat.
But what?
They're saying plug vampire in the chat.
Just Vampire the Masquerade?
Oh, yeah. Barker's reminding me that I've been playing in a Vampire the Masquerade campaign on Performance Check, which is Rob's channel. And I have actually just temporarily left that campaign for real life reasons, time and everything. And Barker has just joined. We saw his character for the first time. So you can check out Performance Check for that. And I am attempting to strong arm Rob into giving me some solo sessions, so I'm not totally without that game the whole time. And I will also plug a little bit for Lloyd's channel because we play some awesome Iskloft campaigns on there. We have Mir, which is every other week at this point, and we're starting a new Middle-earth campaign this week, tomorrow actually.
So
that'll be fun.
I will piggyback on that because Rob Coletta, Performance Check, Rob's friend of the channel, definitely check out his channel. Lloyd, I have had the privilege of playing in some Iskloft, and I backed the Iskloft Kickstarter, so I'm very excited to see all the progress that's coming around on that. Lloyd is one of the masters when it comes to gritty realism games. Lloyd's been hanging out in the chat. And of course, Barker, who we've mentioned. If you don't know who Barker is one of the AbTab 4 who is responsible for this Oath of the Frozen King adventure kit. So I want to plug AbsoluteTabletop.com and Absolute Tabletop official group on Facebook, where all of us met. That's how we form games. A lot of games that I run get promoted through the Absolute Tabletop group. So with that, I see Mike is back. Mike, plug what you want to plug and take us back into Varnholm.
Everything that they said. All right, let's jump right back into it. And I only say this because I know that a couple of us have stuff to do, so I don't want to keep any of us and try and rock through this. If we don't get through this entirety in its entirety tonight. We can see if you guys will all be able to come back for a part 2. If I can't kill you guys in one session, which it looks like I can't, I'll have to try again. I'll try harder next session. So, yeah, subscribe to all these people's channels. Every single one of them is awesome. And much love to these fine, incredible players. I mean, seriously. So, as you stand there with this ethereal being standing at the side, and as it pulls in, it speaks this raspy, almost guttural sound. Help me. Help.
Belthrum, this seems to be your area of expertise.
How can we help you, spirit? What is it that ails you?
Retribution. I seek retribution. Death by troll. Beyond.
Where was this troll? Can you give me some more information?
Beyond the halls of silence. Past the hidden door. I paid the price.
The halls of silence, you say?
Yes.
And how do we find the hidden door?
Pay the price.
What price must we pay?
And it doesn't say anything. It looks down at its it looks down at its body. And for a moment, it looks at all of you. Retribution. And it begins to sink down and climb back into its body in the same horrific manner that it crawled out from. And the last, you kind of see the corpse's chest kind of heave as it's trying to take in this large soul that shouldn't really be a part of it anymore. And then as the kind of chest falls again, you hear retribution.
So Belthrum will kneel next to the body. He just places his hand on his chest. We will find your troll, and we will dispatch it. He stands up and walks off.
Will we, though? Belthrum, I mean, buddy, you do your cleric thing. But like our job was for the people, and that's what we're gonna get paid for. And as fun as it is to hunt trolls in freezing cold weather, not really why I'm here, bud.
You do what you will for your money, your coin. I will do what is right for me.
Let's just leave it if we find the troll. If we find the troll, we kill the troll. And if we don't find the troll, we just go and do what we came here to do.
Yeah, like what Nauta said. If we find the troll, great, we'll kill it. But, we can always come back for it later, tell people there's a troll, get a bounty on its head, then come back.
As much as I'd like to save everything in here, I have a feeling there's going to be way more souls than we can actually feasibly save.
The spirit mentioned paying the price, which is what the words were that I read. Perhaps we must go this way to find this hidden door. Perhaps this is where your people are. Our people, the people, whoever it is we are looking for.
It's a connection of the dots.
Every time. They always go down the path, they follow the lights, they go through the secret door. Yeah, you're right. That's where they are.
You don't sound so convinced. Are you saying that just to placate us?
No. As many times as I've gotten paid for tracking down missing people with some sort of funky thing going on, if there's a magic door or a portal or like the little fairy lights with the will-o'-the-wisp things, yeah, no, they followed it.
They like shiny things.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't either. But they go after the shiny things, so we're going to have to go after the shiny things. Trust me. I'm not happy about it either.
Shall we continue talking?
No, let's keep walking.
Well, some of us can multitask.
We walk, we talk, we do, we kill, we get out. Sounds like a plan to me.
So as you now, of course, for the rest of the different cells, you don't find anything. And if you were to search, other than some frozen, soiled clothing and a bunch of frozen mummies throughout all the cells, and some like old blood-stained implements of torture, you find nothing else. And even on Siegfried's body, if you were to, go in that direction, which is kind of a jerk move, you don't really find very much, as opposed to like a few coppers, and what looks to be an old hair ribbon. He has short hair, so I'll let you put two and two together on that one.
Basically nothing else up here.
Nothing else up here.
Turn around and walk back.
All right. You begin to walk back down through this area known as Gunther's respite or respite. However, you go back into this sword area with the swords and the great sword that almost ended this session real quick, and you see a doorway kind of across the way. You can just make out a table and what looks to be like some sort of a large hearth, just kind of where your vision is, and to the left is the doorway that you would come in from, and you know that it goes back up and out to where all those really fun-filled skeletons that wanted to hang out with you were. And again, the archway in your immediate right as you go down the stairs, the archway writing with that cool ass riddle.
What was the riddle again?
Pay the price, not copper, silver, gold, or platinum will satisfy. Only the richest will open me.
Belthrum, would you be willing to lend me your hand?
Don't agree to that.
Yes.
But you have referred to us as squishy.
Indeed.
We are a soft mage, a soft rogue.
No, if the magic person says, "Can I have your hand?" you always say no. That's like rule number 4.
I don't want to take it like the hand that is on the sword. I will leave it attached.
Well, you're the one who has a little bit more fun with it than the rest of us did, so what are we to think?
As I draw my dagger, this will only hurt a little bit. But I think this is the richest price that we can pay. And I will quick make a slash across your palm.
All right. You take 3 points of slashing damage as the cut was a little bit deeper, as you are good with your mind, but not exactly good with just drawing a little bit of blood. And some kind of rich, dark dwarven blood begins to pool in your hand.
So
there you go.
Belthrum just looks up at Mademoiselle, just kind of looks at the blood dripping off of his palm, and then turns to the arch and just kind of smears his hand across it.
And for a moment, nothing happens. And then slowly, and you hear this kind of audible click, and then this door kind of slowly and very, very quietly moves across, and you are looking down a hallway, and it seems like the hallway is completely sheened with ice. But it's so thin that just underneath you can see the stonework underneath. You see just down the hallway, probably about 20 or 30 feet, you see what looks to be a skeleton, and it has been impaled what looks to be a stalactite, an icy stalactite. Normally I would say icicle, but that doesn't seem quite right. Just the size and sheer thickness. And as you go in, you feel that for some weird reason, because you can't see anything really above you, but you can see darkness above, and it feels cold. It feels, again, so cold. As a matter of fact, it feels so cold that I need you all to make a Constitution saving throw.
21.
18.
4.
Oh.
Okay. Those of you who have got higher than a 15, you will take 2 points of cold damage. Those of you who fail, you will take 4 points of cold damage. As you can just feel the very breath being stilled in your chest. It's almost like a burning sensation, which is weird because it's cold. Yeah, what would you like to do?
We've walked into the room, right?
Well, you're standing in front of the hallway. There's like a small, there's just the threshold, and then it's this icy hallway that goes straight down.
Well, we go through.
We should keep going.
Okay, in we go.
Wait. I'll go first. And Vallana will actually kind of unsling her bow, and she's tapping just on bits of the ice in front of her, making sure it's all actually got stone beneath it as she's walking, and checking for anything that seems suspect.
Okay. How hard are you going to tap it? Are you just going to lightly tap it? You're going to hit it really hard? What's the...
medium taps.
All right.
I don't know. Hard enough so that if it's
weak, yeah, I got what you're saying.
If it's weak, it would crack.
So as you put your bow out and kind of hit the bottom, you actually see it spiderweb. But that cracking sound continues. Not the ice, but the echo. And it seems to rise and rise and rise, and suddenly you can see just this black, almost like a black fog, kind of part for a moment as a stalactite comes down right where your bow was, and actually impales itself into the ice and through the stonework.
And that is why I go first.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
So I will take one slide step to the left and tap the next spot.
All right. So as you very gently kind of go over and you coax and you tap again, once again, the cracking sound and the stalactite Boof! Hits the ground.
Okay, ideas, anybody?
Well,
As you say that, ideas, and it just becomes to rumble as another stalactite. I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Yeah, so as soon as she says that, she's suddenly regretting it. I'm good at dex saves, but I rolled awfully. That is an 8.
There's one domain die that remains.
We'll save it.
Okay.
I feel like we'll need it later.
All right. So 5.
You take 8d8 bludgeoning damage.
rolling a lot.
Oh, how did you know? No, I'm kidding. No, no, you take 12 points of piercing damage as this stalactite comes down and not only hits you, breaks against you, but it also pierces through a big sliver of this ice actually pierces through your leg. And I need you to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom. God. No, not a chance.
Okay. As you see this kind of short sword sized sliver of ice through your thigh, you try to stifle a cry, but you can't help it. And it's just you kind of just and again it echoes up and up and up, and another stalactite falls. This one, however, is not exactly where you're standing. It is right beside you, and it smashes down. You just see your reflection 1,000 times in this icy stalactite staring back at you. The tear rolling down your face from the pain is now freezing to your cheek. What would you like to do?
Real quick, wanting us to not be stingy with our domain dice, Chameleon Fam, who I haven't said it yet this session. Ooh, Chameleon Fam, ooh, because that's their username, has just donated another $10 through Super Chat, giving us 2 more domain dice. So please, Taylor, use them. I think it's this spot. I think it's this spot right down here.
It's like
that's where Talmud is in Sunless Citadel, and he's
right
always having to burn domain dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unlucky. My dice do not usually roll so badly, but
We got to juju that.
It's Jeremy's fault. Jeremy's cursed that spot in the overlay. And blame it on Jeremy Lilly.
Jeremy.
All right. Sorry for that. Back to
Seeing that, could Nauta pull her back and out of the room?
Well, she's already taken. You'd have to step onto the ice as well.
Aha. All right. Let's pussyfoot, shall we?
All right. If you're going to try to be quiet, roll me a stealth check.
Before you do anything yet, I am going to cast Enhance Ability, which will grant you Cat's Grace, and you have advantage on dexterity checks for the next hour,
which is really, really handy because being in heavy armor, stealth checks get disadvantaged. So that means you're back to square one. So
all right. So rolling a 1 dice then.
Rolling 1 die. Yep.
Okay, and it was stealth, you said?
Yep.
That's going to be a 16.
You managed to just kind of paw your foot down and slide it gently, making no noise at all. You reach her, no problem. What would you like to do?
Pull her to me slowly and slowly step back.
All right. You pull her back. Not going to bother rolling for that one. And you're back onto the threshold. Vallana, you still have a fairly large piece of ice jutting through your leg. It hurts.
7 hells. Okay, let's not go that way. There's got to be another way. Not a fan. Not a fan. Belthrum, you do thingies, like magic healy thingies. Fix, please.
Yes. And so he'll pull the icicle out of her leg and just lay his hand on the wound and cast Cure Wounds. So 1d8 plus 3.
I should not roll that.
9.
Nice.
You get 9 points a day of health back. So
Ooh,
Oh, that's good.
that almost makes up for the icicle.
What about the other 2 healths, Vallana? You only cursed these 7 healths.
I have family in the other 2.
That is fair.
All right.
So we are not going to go this way.
I do believe this is the Hall of Silence the spirit mentioned.
I mean, we could just be quiet.
Considering our quiet friend was the one to start.
Well, she was in there tapping the ice with a bow. Click, click, click. It is not very silent.
The bird has a point. But I might be light-footed on my own. I don't know how you two are going to make it.
I'm not exactly light as a feather.
How far does it look like it is across this Hall of Silence, Mike?
It looks to be approximately 60 feet. You, Vallana, made it about 20 feet. You made about a third of the way there before you got yourself into a bit of a scenario, however you want to say it.
So we obviously have no choice but to go another way. What are our options then besides this?
Well, other than this way, the way you went back through the sword shrine, there was that one doorway that looks like it was another room with a large hearth.
We can push on through this this Hall of Silence, or we can go back to the room with the hearth. As I am looking longingly down the Hall of Silence, wishing I had learned the spell Silence.
Can we tell, like, is there like where this ice is coming from? Is it something that is limited supply, or is this going to continue to fall on us indefinitely?
Make me an intelligence check.
23.
Oh, look! Check out the big brain on Brett. So basically, as you see these stalactites fall, they don't look. They're not a uniformed like the end of them, or at least whatever have attached to the ceiling. It looks like they have broken off. So it does appear that there's a good possibility that it might be natural, but your eyes cannot penetrate the darkness above. It looks like almost like a dark miasma, kind of floating above this hallway. You can't reach up and touch it because it looks to be at least 25 feet up. But yeah.
So I'm going to cast Thaumaturgy, and I'm just going to yell 3 times louder than normal. Break! And I want to see if that has any effect in the Hall of Silence.
Sounds good. Give me a second here. So you see nothing happen at first, and this rumble, this rumble from the ceiling. The whole thing shakes. You can see like bits of ice that are kind of attached to the hallway begin to fall in this heavy vibration, and suddenly you see all along this corridor the stalactites are falling and just smashing into this ice all the way through. And suddenly, as like even the echo continues, after that, nothing happens. Give yourself a point of inspiration because that was Brad.
That was brilliant.
Nice.
That was
good.
so smart.
That was good.
That was very clever thinking.
Can we tell if that fixed it or not?
You can't tell right now.
Okay. I'm just gonna try and walk out there quietly.
All right. Make me a stealth check. If you're wearing heavy armor, it'll be at disadvantage.
11.
Okay, so you take a step. Your foot kind of kicks one of the stalactites, and a big chunk of it falls over, and you hear again the spider web of like some parts of the ice that have not shattered. And for a moment, you just hold your breath. For a moment, collectively, all of you, nothing happens.
It looks like our little friend had a nice big idea.
Onward and upward, as they say.
So as you carry on through into the down through the hallway, the skeleton that had been pierced in through there tries in vain to kind of reach up and grab at you, but because you've let all the stalactites fall, it's like its arm, like it barely gets a finger to kind of scratch at you. And you walk by, almost feeling pity, but not really. And you make it through the doorway. You come into this extremely large room. It's got to be at least 35 feet by about 60 feet long. You see shallow pits in perfect circles dug in on either side. From where you can see into these shallow pits, you see bones of what looks to be dogs. This is a spot that almost looks like kennels. You see barbed whips along in racks along each side. You see muzzles and you see chains hanging in. You see a small troughs by each one filled with what looks to be human remains or human bones, stretched all the way down to the very end of this area. But all of that pales into comparison with the large, hunched over individual you see scratching, what looks to be digging things into the ground with what looks to be kind of a broken piece of sword. And you can hear this thing muttering under its breath in common, strangely enough, as most trolls do not. Oath must be fulfilled. Oath. As it's digging and digging in, you can, even though you can't quite see, you can hear the squelch of the sword blade, which is digging in through the creature's palm, like causing blood to get like pushed into the scratchings. What would you like to do? GTFOing is an option too. I mean, if you guys just like, you know what? Nope, done. You know what? You guys, there's lots of people in that town, right?
Does this look like the troll that we heard about?
Well, I mean, this creature is about 9 feet tall, is bare-chested, this kind of azure blue skin, and it's mostly muscle.
I would like to shoot it.
Oh wow, you ain't messing, you're not even messing around. You're like, nope.
Nope, ain't happening.
And then I'd like to kill it, sir.
Yeah. Shoot first, kill second.
All right. You know what? Make me an attack roll. As it's and if you do hit it, which you might.
So that's an 18 on the die, and because of one of my archetype abilities, it's an automatic crit.
Nice. Perfect. Okay, so as far as crits go, you're going to do max damage to whatever you like. You'll do max damage, and then I want you to roll your damage die again to add on to that. It's like all the damage.
Okay. Does that max out my sneak attack damage as well?
Heck yeah, it does.
I'm gonna have to do math. For an engineer, I'm really bad at math. Hang on.
Good thing this isn't
10,
an interview.
12, 22, and 5, 27. Do I add my modifier a second time for the crit, or just double the dice?
Just double the dice.
Okay, 27.
All right. So as you kind of knock back an arrow and just let it loose, you hit this thing square in the back of the head, and it stops for a moment, and you just hear the as the blade just kind of drags along the ground. It kind of looks at you with this long kind of hooked nose with like kind of dried snot kind of hanging at partially frozen. It looks to you with like thick yellowed kind of almost greenish like teeth. Its tongue kind of just hangs out in this long point. It licks kind of this yellow film off. Oh, food, sustenance, and it kind of slams the blade through its own hand to become this kind of like punch dagger. You can see already it begins to scab and scar up around it as the blade kind of like pushes through. And I'd like everyone to roll initiative.
Did you just say punch dagger?
Yeah, have you never seen a punch dagger?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, it's an actual weapon, but it pushes the sword through the palm of its hand, so it just kind of like sticks out.
So as she's attacking this thing, well, first my initiative was 13, but as she's attacking this Belthrum, he kneels down. He has his warhammer next to him on the ground, and he's clutching the something in his hand against his chest, and you just hear him muttering his prayer. Forge and furnace, melt me, mold me, that I may protect my brothers and sisters and lay waste to the enemies before me. And you see just this like reddish glow, this kind of orange-red glow emanate from what it was holding in his hand, and it kind of casts out over into his armor. And as I cast, what was it there again? That's my Blessing of the Forge, which grants me +1 AC.
Nice.
I'm rolling my initiative on an Atcon die, which seems appropriate since this is absolute tabletop module.
Legit. And unfortunately, for some weird reason, the chat is not working for me.
You're gonna miss all my fun snark. 27 initiative for me.
So, sorry. What was that?
27.
27. Okay.
And I got 14.
13.
Also 13.
13 and 13. So before we start this combat, though, because I know that at least one of us did have to go at 8 o'clock our time and 11 o'clock Eastern. It is 15 minutes till then. So do you guys want us to kind of hold here as a placeholder? I'll even keep the initiative order, and we can carry on with this another time, or do we want to
kill the troll first?
I bet we can kill it in 15 minutes.
I think we can kill it.
Yeah.
Whoa! Well then, all right.
Kill the troll.
I love your your confidence. This totally won't end badly for you. All right. So first
troll
up,
or die trying.
First up, Vallana, you are up in the initiative order.
19 to hit.
Okay, that hits.
And because it has not acted yet, that is a crit again.
All right.
So that's going to be 26.
All right. So again, you loose another arrow, and it punctures the thing right through the skull again. It burbles now as you kind of wrecked its brain, or at least whatever passes for a brain. Its tongue kind of darts out, licks the wound around the arrow, and it kind of like sucks in whatever ichor has popped out of its cranium, and it kind of sits there and grunts. Excuse me, its turn now, and you see the kind of scar tissue begin to already form up and kind of envelop the arrow, and you see it snaps the one of the arrow shafts off, and you see the scar tissue like kind of form up around the arrow shaft, and it bounds towards kind of like leaping for the first person, and the first person, of course, is the one that shot him twice, because he wants retribution. So it comes up with this like kind of homemade punch dagger, this longsword blade that is sticking out through its own hand, and it hits for an unnatural 20, so not a crit.
Yeah, that'll do it.
All right, and you will be taking 8 points of slashing damage. It comes straight down to where, like, just across your armor, and you can feel it cut in. The blood begin to flow. It makes another attack as it kind of uses its momentum as it's come one way and then comes back up, slashing you across the face. That would be a 15 to hit.
Will not do it.
All right. You manage to just dodge out of the way, maybe even staggering back from this one blow. Nauta, it is now your turn. This thing looks a bit wobbly.
And is it by me?
What's that?
Is it like close to me, or is it a distance?
I mean, it's not a very far distance. It didn't take long for it to bound, because again, it's a large creature. So it's probably about 15 feet away from you.
Well, and I think that I probably would have stayed next to the group. I wasn't going close to shoot it. I've got pretty good range on a short bow, 80 feet.
Very true. So I mean, yeah, it's not far from you at all.
All right, then I'm going to let's swing at it with my maul, and I'm going to invoke Divine Smite along the way.
Nice.
All right, so that is 14 to hit.
It does not hit.
Ah.
So it manages to like grab its free arm as you're coming down with the maul, and it just kind of uses.
Wait, dice, domain dice. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's make Chameleon happy.
All right.
Okay, that's better. 17.
Okay, yeah, you definitely strike that thing.
Okay, so then it's going to be 2d6 along with 2d8 radiant damage. All right, so the first is going to be 10 plus 5, so 15 for the bludgeoning. And then where's the d8? And then radiant's going to be 7.
It's dead. It's dead. You can't kill it anymore. Tell me how you finish this troll off. I can't believe you guys just like rocked through that thing.
Well, let's be fair. Taylor double critted it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all.
Vallana double
I just
critted
kind of like
it.
neatened at the kill. So basically, she's just going to be string of swears. You don't know what she's saying, but it's basically like, I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. And she's whacking him on his head, basically. And it just splits the skull in twain, and ta-da.
It's got to be the hype horns from Mike that gave you the power to do that.
Probably. And you just see this this radiant light smashing it. Not only does it cave in the skull, but the radiant force of it just burns this kind of like perfect hole through not only its skull but part of its shoulder. You actually see as its like arm and part of its torso fall off. You actually kind of hear a clanging as you see old pieces of old arrowheads and old blades that have stuck into this, like have been inside this thing from like previous fights, as scar tissue had just like closed up and over due to this creature's healing. This thing must have been in pain all the time. Driven mad by some force inside of here. But you won. So awesome.
Cool. I think this is the first time I've killed something and feel bad for it.
Hey, you know, I
Sorry, I don't talk to trolls.
there's a thing there. The 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 room now is silent as you walk through these troughs, these old bones that have like gnawed marks and everything else. You see now, which you didn't see before, which seems oddly out of place. This cold kind of fog that is leaching through this one spot, and it seems to be, it looks like an area with like just two simple doors. They seem so simple, and you can see this icy fog going through it, and you just hear this voice, and it's not really coming from anywhere. It's coming from your mind. It's coming from inside of you. Come to me. Come join me. And that's where we're going to end for right now before the big fight, because I know that Dwight, you got to get up. But you guys made it far. I expected you all to die much quicker, but I realized you guys were going to be all MacGyveringly awesome. MacGyver.
Belthrum with that thaumaturgy
Oh my
save in the
God,
Hall of
that
Silence.
That was
Incredible.
That was pretty cool.
MVP right there.
Seriously,
Yep.
dude, that was an amazing call.
Yep. Not all heroes use magic, but this one does.
Oh,
Well, and that's one of my favorite things that players can do is they take an encounter and rather than like unraveling the Gordian knot, they just
yep.
Just cut right through it.
Let's just. Yeah, that was
Well, I know somebody's got to get out of here pretty quick. But Mike, thank you for running this one shot on short notice as we dealt with Megan not being able to make it tonight. And thank you, Taylor, for being able to join us on such short notice. So we will put a pin in this Oath of the Frozen King, and we will revisit this the next time we are in this position to see what happens with this particular group of adventurers. And
Sure. And I would just again would like to say that if this is the first time you're ever hearing about the Oath of the Frozen King, hey, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Definitely go check out absolutetabletop.com and think about getting yourself a copy. You can go on their website and you can order a print copy, which is, and I will say, incredibly high quality. Like, it's not a cheap book. They really went all out to get a really good good quality book, nice, good, thick pages. If hard copy is not your thing, you can most certainly pick up the PDF. It's the one good thing about Absolute Tabletop, all their stuff is really fairly priced. You're not going to pay an arm and a leg for any PDF or anything. All PDFs are really professionally done. Bookmarks, everything. If you need a quick thing to check in, like, you've got it, and it's fantastic. So Oath of the Frozen King, they just finished up as of yesterday or today their Shadows over Drift Chapel, which is another adventure kit that you can get. It's set in the world of Gloam, which is a flintlock horror setting, which automatically sounds rad. And you can actually
go to youtube.com/Mini-Terrain Domain, and you will see the Gaslights over Gloam, I believe it was called, Gloam Shadows over Drift Chapel playtest that I ran just a couple weeks ago right here on Twitch and YouTube. But yeah, I mean, I've run a lot of Absolute Tabletop stuff right here on the channel. All the way back to the first stuff they put out. It's some fantastic stuff. Yeah, definitely check out absolutetabletop.com. Come over to Absolute Tabletop, the official group. Check out everybody's at handle, that's Twitter handle up above their heads here, at the Crafting Muse, at Thepiper, at Big Bearded Nerd, at moms_the_nerd, and at MTD_Jake to keep up with what we are doing. V just dropped the Absolute Tabletop link in the chat on both platforms. So thank you for that, V. V, go ahead and drop your Terror Muffins link one more time in both chats, where you can get an awesome t-shirt like this or other swag that they got, and the profits are going for a wonderful cause for the prevention of domestic abuse at a local charity.
Yep, it runs the whole month of October because the month of October is National Awareness for Domestic Violence. So,
and every game that V is in, I'm running that promo, which is a lot of games on the channel lately, and I'm not sorry for that. And last but not least, consider subscribing on either platform or following. Hit the little chime bell on the Mini Terrain Domain platforms to stay up to date on all of the great games we're running. At this rate, we're running at least 2 to 3. We're actually running at least 3 games a week, campaigns and mini games, mini campaigns with other content coming. Also, you can go to patreon.com/Mini Terrain Domain. I just launched a Patreon today. If you want to find other ways that you can support the channel, all of that funding from Patreon goes right back into things that are outlined on the Patreon to help make the channel and the experience even better. One last thing I'm going to plug. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail right now. A couple people here know about this. I'm going to say, check out jaspersgameday.com. A local Michigan teen has started this charity earlier this year or last year after losing 2 of her friends to teen suicide. She's an up-and-coming Adventurers League DM at a Michigan game store, and her and Satine Phoenix got to talking on social media, and they formed, she being Fenway, the teen DM, formed Jasper's Game Day, a charity that is backed by the American Association of Suicidology. They are a registered 501(c) charitable organization, and everything that they raise goes to raise awareness and help support around the issue of teen suicide. Stay tuned to Mini Terrain Domain. In the coming months, we will have some spectacular announcements about something that we are going to do next spring in conjunction with Jasper's Game Day. And all I'm going to say is there's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening right here on this channel with a lot of people in the tabletop RPG community, names that you'll be familiar with. But that's not about those names. It's not about this channel. It's about Jasper's Game Day. So please check that out as well. And thank you, V, for also sharing Fenway's Twitter handle in the chats. So with that, thank you to everybody, V, Taylor, Dwight, and Mike. Tune in on Thursday for the Sunless Citadel as our mini campaign adventure continues with some crafty individuals at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And now I'm going to close this stream out just like I close out every stream. You can say it with me if you want. Omitted.